you got to have big picture in mind first, right? So it's like, where do we want to be? What do we want to be? How do we want this to look? Big picture, so that all the little things that you're paying attention to can get you to where you need to go.
It seems like your approach, like I heard you talk about experience in that it was a destination. You actually dove into the way that they're paying, the different types of products, the ambiance. It sounds like that you put the customer's dollar first before yours, which translated to a better product. You were really envisioning it of, okay, what is this entire experience going to be like? So I don't know if you want to dive into that, of how you started constructing that, or some of the high level topics you looked at, because I haven't heard lots of people speak about systems, processes, but rarely are they speaking about the details that go into everything of their product. I mean, when somebody mentions how people are paying or the pricing, that means that you have thought about this from a customer's perspective.
Yeah. And I think there's really no other way to do it, right? I think, and I guess that's the only way that I know. I think a couple things, you got to have big picture in mind first, right? So it's like, where do we want to be? What do we want to be? How do we want this to look? Big picture, so that all the little things that you're paying attention to can get you to where you need to go, right? Because the little things, you don't have to stop. You don't have to say, oh, well, we got to knock these things out before we get, you got to handle everything with this approach of, we want to be, this is who we want to be, and that's what we're going to do. And everything that we do between point A and point Z is going to get us there, right? So when we talked about like the little things, the coffee business today is unbelievably competitive, right? I mean, there's coffee shops everywhere. And I won't name any names, but it doesn't take a genius to figure out which ones are where. So if you're in Kearney, Nebraska, and it's 2003, let's just say, and there's other big businesses that have been around for years before you, right, and have made this name, you're going to find a way for people to say, well, let's give that place a try, right? We've always said things like, listen, we'll set up shop right next to coffee shop X, because two things are going to happen. Number one, they're going to be so busy they can't manage it all in the beginning. And number two is, we're going to be so much better that these people will never go back. So we take an approach, and that maybe sounds arrogant, right? But listen, if you're running a business, you have to take that approach. So we did a lot of research on the products that we chose to use. I'm sure, just like a lot of, we went to trade shows, did things like that. We did a lot of taste testing. And for us, it was about, what do we like? And the probably the one thing that we did that was outside of like consumer first is we prepared things the way that they should have been prepared, right? So, for example, a cup of coffee has a gold standard of brewing it. That's really strong. And people don't, man, this is bitter, right? But we were going to condition our customer base to drink coffee the right way, the way that it was intended to be drank and prepared. And there's too much that goes into coffee on the front end, right? Like the way it's grown and the farmers and the processing, that to disrespect it, right? And this isn't like preach about coffee. Anything that has this type of a preparation process needs to be taken seriously. So we did that, right? And we said, we're going to get our customer base to adapt to us so that everything else is off, right? So we wanted to condition our customers to drink the products the way that we prepared them. We did a lot of research on award-winning products, right? We started there. I mean, if you're award-winning, you're doing something right. So we did a lot of that kind of stuff. But and then the preparation. We wanted what we did to be known as a craft, right? So being a barista is a lot like being a chef, right? To Chris's point, you can flip burgers anywhere and it can be a burger. I mean, you put a burger on the grill, you got a burger. But there's a lot of other things that go into making a burger really, really great, right? Cup of coffee is no different. If you go somewhere and get a latte and you can't taste the coffee, what's the point, right? So we wanted to make sure that we were preparing these products in such a way that you truly you could taste the product, right? It's like, we chose these products for a reason. Let's showcase these things. And it's just a phenomenal, coffee has so many different flavors, right? If you do it right, you get to taste them all. It's amazing. But so stuff like that, we want to make sure that the preparation was, we were just pushing buttons, right? We were a craft. It was by hand. And with that comes time, right? So it takes extra time to do these things. So we also had to create, from an operational perspective, all of these efficiencies, right? Like, for example, we pulled our shots of espresso with 27 seconds. Well, what else can I be doing in that 27 seconds, right? So you create this, every customer is a minute and a half, right? So you are creating all these things within the framework of how you want to be great. And it worked out really well for us. Everything down, and this is the thing that I laugh about even today, right? I joke with my business friends. It's like the bathroom at our coffee shop had the best toilet paper, had the best soap, had the best, you know what I mean? And it's silly, but
it matters.
The thing it matters to me, and when I go somewhere, it matters to me. And I give a lot of people, man, that toilet paper is terrible.
Yeah.
So just little things like that is how we kind of like created this. We turned the perception into the reality. These are the things that we really do, and this is what we believe in, and we're never going to falter from that. Baristas has been open every day since 2001. Not once has it ever closed, it's switched hands a few times. They've been open every day, and their model for success works, and it's
I love the phrase "condition the customer." I mean, look, I didn't take a lot of MBA type course because when I was going through school, so maybe that's a common phrase, but I'd never heard that, and the making them adapt's huge. I never thought about that. And obviously, you could get negative with it, or it could come out to be a negative thing. But yours was so you could showcase how great the coffee is. It reminds me of when we were getting started in the real estate game. Like, I know it's a little different, especially because there's like this art and this craft with the coffee. Just like there's an art and a craft with wine. There's a lot of arts and different ways to look at things you consume. But when we got started in the real estate business, it was really, really popular to flip apartments, flip homes, and make a quick buck. And you can make a fat check. You could even wholesale it. You could get something under contract for $100,000 and sell it to somebody else a week later for $110,000. And I remember these conversations with some of our initial investors. They're like, wait a second, you're going to do a cash out refinance. So we're not going to flip it. We're not going to make one check and then ride off into the sunset with my $40,000. And, I wouldn't say there was like negative pushback, but that conversation, which I guess looking back on it, I was conditioning our partners, if you will, to understand that sure, you make that one check, but now you don't own any real estate. Now you're not getting a passive income. Now you're generationally not going to do anything. And I'm not trying to relate too much what you said into real estate, but I never thought about the condition the consumer aspect or condition the partner, condition the business, where it's saying, look, I believe in what I have. I know it's the best, and I'm going to prove it to you. And I think that's awesome you did that with coffee.